What is going on, everybody? It's your good friend Random Hero Gaming, back with another horrible, mediocre sniping gameplay from Black Ops 1. Now that the dust is settled, I think this is my favorite Call of Duty. It is what it is. It definitely aged pretty damn well. But let me get into what I want to talk about with you guys today, and that is social anxiety. It feels like it's worse than ever before in a vast majority of people, especially younger people under the age of 30. The COVID lockdowns seemingly did a number on everybody, and that's quite a normal thing. But I want to talk a bit about how I won't say I defeated it. I mean, it's normal to be anxious. I'm not out in public singing and dancing and frolicking around in front of everybody. I'm absolutely an overthinker in conversation. So I just want to put it into perspective that, 10 being like a Kai Cenat or someone that just could go and stream in public and just be themselves and not care at all about the millions of people commenting and freaking out about being judged. That's like a 10. I'm not there. I'm probably at a 7. But I was probably at a 2 or a 3 for most of my life. Only recently, within the last couple years or so, have I begun to really conquer social anxiety. So I want to give you guys the rundown of what worked for me, but I want to really sort of go into depth about how anxious I was, how terrified, how the fear of being judged was so strong and prevalent and followed me everywhere. So in middle school, I was pretty extroverted, I'd say. I had a lot of friends. I got invited to parties. I had parties. I had people over, girls over, you name it. It was pretty. It's just like thinking back on it. It's nothing like how I ended up as. But that was around the time my parents got divorced, was in middle school. And I think 8th grade, when I was transitioning to high school, and it was a nasty divorce, and it was prolonged, and it did a number on me. Especially as I was the oldest sibling, so I had my younger siblings. I was worried about them, looking out for them, worried about my parents, looking out for my parents. It was not a good place for a kid to be in. And through that experience, I developed a distrust of most people. It's like if you can't trust your parents' marriage, can't trust your parents to get along, who could you trust? What could you trust? Friends, relationships, anything was a threat. So, I didn't go out mingling. It happened. High school happened. All these cool kids I was friends with, all the girls I was friends with, dissipated, gone. I just totally became this elusive figure that disappeared in the background, wore a hoodie to school every day, put it on my head, sat in the last row on the corner, didn't talk to anybody. I had a couple friends, like 2 or 3 friends that I just have known my whole life. That was my squad. Only people I hung out with. I went from multiple parties in middle school, a lot of friends, to 2 friends. Didn't get invited to a single party in high school. Was looked at as a weirdo. I would get sort of bullied. When I would get called on by a teacher, I remember this, one of the worst experiences in high school. And I know you guys might, oh, that's privilege. That's your worst experience. Well, yeah, I was a ghost, pretty much. It was a teacher had called on me to read something. And the hot girl in school, like hottest girl in school, popular girl in school, said, oh, blank is in our class. And everyone started laughing. That was right after the teacher called on me. It was quiet. And she said that right before I was about to read. Everyone started laughing. It was horrible. And then college came around, and all my friends went away to school. I was still local. went to a local community college, 2-year school, and then university. And those 4 or 5 years, I didn't make any new friends. My friends moved away. I'd see them on spring and summer breaks, but that was few and far in between. I was so anxious that I would just fast walk to the class from my car, get out, fast walk back to my car, go home, play video games all day and night, and that was that. I was, for years, didn't make a new friend, didn't join a single club in high school, college, none of that. No extracurricular, no friends, no nothing. I was genuinely terrified to form relationships, be with people, be myself. I always thought I was extremely weird. Extremely weird. I always thought I had something wrong with me. I had missed a bunch of steps developmentally. I couldn't go back in time. It was over for me. I would never make new friends again. I would never be able to show people my personality and sort of what I had to offer. And it was so bad. I just recall I had the biggest fear of even going in like a drive-thru at a McDonald's or something. I just was terrified. I'd be under pressure. I'd have to decide what I'm going to eat. I didn't know what I was going to say. I would rub my car against the side of the wall when I was pulling up to the window. It was really, really bad. It was horrible. I was total recluse, homebody, to the point where I was extremely depressed. And then the COVID lockdowns happened. And, you know, then it was like I was in my element. I was feeling pretty good. And I wasn't seeing any friends, wasn't making new friends. I hadn't in years. And this was as college was ending. I graduated during the lockdowns, online ceremony. I was pretty relieved about that. But to get on with it, what helped me? So about that time when I graduated college, that was when all of my friends that moved away, the 3 or 4 friends that moved away, came back. And these were people I thought, oh my God, they're amazing. They moved away. They have their whole lives together. I'm a loser. I don't know what I'm doing. I got this degree. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I thought something was extremely wrong. I just saw all my friends in social media. My cousin, who's really popular, I saw him on social media and his friends. They're having a great time. And then all these people moved back, and I spoke to them, and I was honest. You know, I said, I'm going to be honest with my friends. I'm going to tell them I'm struggling a little bit, and I miss them. And that prompted them all to open back up to me, and not a single one of them lived up to the idea in my head I had of them. They were all a mess. They were all afraid of getting older. They were all panicked about what was next. And even if they had things lined up next, they were worried that, oh my God, is this what I'm going to be doing the rest of my life? I'm terrified. Something's wrong with me. And everyone has this idealized version of people in their heads. And it was at that time where something just kind of clicked in me that everyone is just winging it. And there is no one right way and one right path in life. And that story I told myself of I fell behind, I can't hold a conversation, I can't do this and that. I started working on that. And here's how I did that. Here's how I developed conversation skills. And it's going to sound crazy and silly, but I did this for a year during COVID. And one, I was going to therapy because, like I said, a girl broke my heart. I was dealing with the loss of a family member. That was excruciatingly painful, and I was in therapy because I was borderline suicidal. And therapy helped me realize I wanted to make friends. I wanted to form relationships, but I didn't have the tools, and it was a muscle I had to work at, as painful as it might be, whether it be just chatting someone up at a grocery store, smiling, making eye contact. Very small steps. That's the secret to life and getting better, is very small steps. Smiling at someone, waving to someone, a little joke, a little side comment to a cashier. just any tiny little thing, and it just gets easier and easier, and then the more progress you make, the more motivated you get to keep doing it. But what really helped me the most was I had a Meta Quest 2, and shameless plug, Meta's not paying me, but I had a Meta Quest 2. I was interested in VR, and I downloaded VRChat, and I would go into VRChat. A lot of weirdos in there, a lot of freaks. Probably a lot of you guys listening. We're all freaks. We're all freaking weirdos in our own way. But I would go on VRChat, and I would walk up to someone, or I would join in a group, and I'd just start talking to anyone alone by themselves. I would start chatting people up, and it was extremely difficult, even in VR anonymously. And when it would get a little weird or I would run out of things to say, I would literally leave the server. I'd leave the map I was on. Just leave. I wouldn't say goodbye. I wouldn't say nothing. If it got too awkward, I would just leave, and, you know, that was that. And I would keep doing that. I'd go into that game, just start talking to someone that was, you know, maybe with one other person or someone by themselves, ask them about the game, ask them about their lives, what they do, where they go to school, whatever. And eventually, I got better at it. I got better at it, slowly better at it, and I just kept doing it and doing it. And things would get awkward, they would get uncomfortable. I'd just leave. I would just exit out, and I would feel awkward and uncomfortable. And then I realized these people don't know who I am. They'll never know who I am. And I built up those skills talking to people. It's crazy even saying this, but it's true. And on top of that, on top of building those skills and talking to people and talking to more of my friends and being vulnerable and being open, talking about anxiety, depression, fear of missing out, everybody, there isn't a single person I've ever spoken to that has never expressed the same feelings back to me. So that's the cheat code, is no matter how good looking someone is or if they have everything together, they're probably weirdos too, just like you. And everyone tries to make a good first impression. Everyone puts on a mask for a good first impression. But anyone you know and spend more time around, the cracks will start to show. And you'll see they have flaws, they have quirks, they have anxieties, no matter how good looking Chads or Stacys they are. And if you haven't seen the video, I talked about my brother, who's a total Giga Chad, and suffering an identity crisis and horrible anxiety and terrified of, you know, how the next 15, 20 years of his life are going to go. He's at a job. He doesn't know what to do. If he leave, stay. Everyone is going through something. Everyone is afraid to make a wrong move. Everyone is afraid to be disliked. Everyone has some sort of trauma. Everyone has issues. And it doesn't matter how genetically blessed they are. Trust me. And what also helped me was a book that I was reading at the time as well, when I was, you know, going through this learning phase of trying to be a better person that could hold conversations and talk to people and not be terrified and feel judged and feel weird and feel like a, you know, like an outcast. It was a book I came across. It's called, what is it? It was, Scott Adams was the author. He's the creator of Dilbert. It's called, off the top of my head, what is it? Oh yeah, How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big, by Scott Adams. And he has something in there called the basket case theory, about how, like I said, everyone you get close to, you will notice their flaws, anxieties, and everyone has them. And being around someone surface level for the one or two times, you'll think they got it all together and everything's perfect and you're the weird one. But the more you spend time around someone, you will notice that they are way more alike than you, and everyone goes through something. Everyone has something they're insecure about. And really intellectualizing that and knowing that deep down, that has gotten me to a point where I could take trips by myself, I can go to the movies by myself, I can go to a restaurant by myself, I don't feel judged. I feel sort of empowered. And again, it's not 100%. I'm not an extrovert. I don't really enjoy too much being around a lot of people, but I can tolerate it now. And I could hold my own in conversations with just about anyone. And it came with time. I'm 29 now. I'm about to turn 30 in a few months, 3 months. And it wasn't until I'd say 26 where I started to ease into myself and get up to maybe a 4 or a 5 from a 2. And now at 29, I'm at a 7. And that's way better than I thought I'd ever be at. And I hope this video could help you guys. Remember, everything is just a muscle you got to work on and work at. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for all the subscribers and the love. Peace.